Hi, I'm Benjamin Morgan, the Chief Executive of the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association of Australia. And tonight I'm just putting out a very quick industry alert regarding some news that we put forward to the industry this afternoon. Troubling news in that aircraft owners and pilots are reporting that the Civil Aviation Safety Authority, via Chris Monaghan, has issued letters of demand to aircraft owners and pilots seeking information, data, copies of logbooks and copies of maintenance releases that pertain to flights that have been conducted for community service flight operations, otherwise known as angel flight operations here in Australia. These actions come in short succession to news that we received in which angel flight was successful in their federal court proceedings of having some additional items added to the scope of that proceeding. And it looks at this stage that as a consequence of that, CASA have now launched what could only be seen as a desperate fishing expedition that is now lining up aircraft owners and pilots squarely in the gun sights of the National Safety Regulator. I'd just like to say this to aircraft owners and to pilots: make no mistake about what's going on here. CASA are seeking to fish for data to find ways in which they can continue to prop up their unjust and completely useless regulations that they have forced on top of the community service flight sector. And it's deeply troubling because we live in a world in which we exist under strict liability, and submissions made back to CASA can be used against you. There is absolutely no references in the letters that have been provided to aircraft owners and pilots to say that there is in any way a moratorium, that they won't use this data in any civil or criminal proceeding. And so by responding to them, you may inadvertently be jeopardising or placing yourself down the pipe of some form of self-incrimination without even possibly knowing that you're doing it. Now, it's not for AOPA or any other industry association to tell you not to respond to a request made by CASA. So at this point in time, the association is seeking the advice of Senior Counsel to understand what you are legally obligated to reply with and the scope of that information. Our interests in this are to protect you, the aircraft owner and the pilot. And I think we've seen enough from CASA over the past 30 years to understand that when they go on this kind of data collection exercise, that they use that information in ways in which it continues to drive decline for the industry, drive a withdrawal and removal of rights for the participants and users of this industry. So this is a highly dangerous exercise in that we may very well be providing information that they may use against us to further take our rights away. And so I wanted to just put my face to this so that everybody understands that we are actually working on this right now. We are going to seek the best advice that we can. We'll be liaising with Angel Flight to understand how we can potentially work together, and hopefully we can come up with a solution that protects our members and industry participants. And so that's really all I wanted to say on this particular issue tonight. I understand that there's a lot of commentary running on it. We've also reached out to a number of senators, and we'll be reaching out to the Deputy Prime Minister's office to find out what the hell is going on with it, and to see if we can't bring about some sensibility for the industry. So hang in there, everyone. I would like to just also cover off a couple of other short points as well with this, and that is the Angel Flight challenge that's going on in the federal court at the moment is examining the entire fundamental of this regulation, is whether this regulation really should have been introduced or not. That is the Community Service Flight 0919 legislation and regulations. And so from the outset, AOPA have been very clear in saying that CASA did not produce a single justifiable safety case for introducing any of this garbage onto the industry, and it is garbage. It's absolute garbage, and it's my opinion that CASA knows it's garbage. But typical of CASA, they commit themselves to a course of action, they find themselves at war with the industry, and they refuse to back away, and then they pretty well go to whatever lengths possible to justify their position. And so This is a really sad outcome for the industry, and today we've received numerous phone calls from concerned aircraft owners who have been requested now to hand over maintenance releases, have been asked to provide copies of logbooks and other details. And so we want to make sure that everybody's protected here and that we're not being used by CASA in a desperate attempt to justify themselves, potentially in a court proceeding that may not be going their way. So whilst the letters from CASA are saying that they're doing this for research purposes and that they're gathering data, what I would like to say, and I'd like everyone to remember these words clearly, make no mistake, CASA is not researching anything at all. They are conclusion shopping. They are conclusion shopping for their unjustified regulations that they have rammed through into this industry without any safety case to justify them whatsoever. And honestly, CASA should be ashamed. If you'd like to leave your comments or any questions, please feel free, and we'll be back to you next week, and not only with an update on this issue from Senior Counsel, but we're being joined next week by Tony White and representatives of the Sport Aircraft Association to have a conversation about sport aircraft and the industry moving forward. So hang tight, pilots. We will be back to you with more information shortly, and of course the information that we provide, we also recommend that you seek your own legal advice as well before making those submissions. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great Thursday night.